Hey guys, welcome back to the Path to Profit podcast. If you've been following along, you know we've been diving into the foundations of marketing. We talked about branding, we talked about boutique owners that are quitting, and I hope that you're feeling a lot smarter by this episode. I hope you're starting to think a little bit more clearly and starting to really recognize some of the gaps that exist in your business, so on and so forth. Now, today we're going to get even more strategic. We're talking about the marketing mix. It's also known as the 4 P's of marketing: product, price, place, and promotion. And I'm really excited to talk about this. Now, you may have heard about it, maybe, I don't know. I had heard about it in college. Back in college, if you did not know, I got a degree in speech communication, specializing in public relations. And as a result of me getting a relations degree, I had to take a lot of marketing classes because PR is a subset of marketing. And so, in one of those many marketing classes that I took, we learned about what's called the marketing mix, or the 4 P's of marketing. I'm going to be honest with y'all. This was 10 years ago, a little bit over 10 years ago, actually, where I learned about the 4 P's of marketing. And I can confidently tell you that I likely was not really listening. I remember hearing it, but I wasn't really listening. I likely really didn't understand it back then, mostly because I didn't have like real world application. I wasn't starting a business. I didn't have the desire to start a business. I was getting a degree in PR. I thought I was going to go be somebody's publicist, not necessarily for like a product based business, but maybe for an individual. So this wasn't one of those things that I thought I needed to know. Now, fast forward to today, and baby, I am a marketing beast. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Me and marketing are like two peas in the pod. We are besties for the resties. And I always tell people that it doesn't matter if this business or my other one, if they fail or not, because I would literally start another business tomorrow because I understand marketing and also branding. But marketing is my jam. So I'm going to tell you this. If you don't understand your marketing mix or don't know what it is or how to use it or so on and so forth, you're likely marketing super ineffectively. And that's on period. Okay. So I want you to go ahead and grab a pen and a paper, a notebook, whatever you need to grab, because this episode is going to be filled with good advice, good information that's going to help you to create a mix that works for your business and, more importantly, for your audience. All right. So, first things first, I want you to know that the marketing mix is not just this like made up thing. It's not just a theory that somebody like made up at some point. The 4 P's of marketing, or the marketing mix, is basically the blueprint for how your business operates and connects with its customers. It's essentially like, I know I've said branding is the foundation, but like this is also kind of foundational. And the beauty of this mix is that it's going to force you to think from your customer's perspective. I find that a lot of times when people start a business, they start their business for themselves, obviously, because they want to make money. They want to make some extra funds. I hear a lot of people say, I started this business because I love to shop and because I love fashion, so on and so forth. But you have to train yourself to think about everything from your customer's perspective. And that is truly what the marketing mix is all about. So it's going to force you to answer or ask yourself questions like, what do they want? How do they want to buy it? How can I show them that my product is the perfect solution to their problems? So when you nail this marketing mix, everything is going to become so much easier for you. Just like we talked about with understanding branding and marketing, when you understand the marketing mix, everything's going to become so easy. Your messaging, your campaigns, even your pricing are going to become a lot easier for you to make decisions around. So let's break this down. We're going to start with the most important piece, obviously, your products, because guess what? You got to sell those to make some money, my friend. So your product is obviously the foundation of your business. Here I go saying it's the foundation. There's a lot of foundational pieces of your business if you haven't guessed by now. It's not just what you're selling. So yes, you are selling a tangible product, but really what you're selling is why it matters to the customer. Why should I buy that thing? So if your product doesn't solve a problem or meet a need, there's no demand for it, there's no amount of marketing that's going to fix that. If there's no demand for that product, meaning there's no frenzy of people out there who are in great desire for that product, you will likely not be able to sell that product. That's plain and simply. You guys know I've worked with a lot of boutique owners. One of the biggest mistakes that I've seen so many people make is buying a bunch of inventory that they think that they can make people want. The easiest way to get people to buy something is to have a product that they need or that is already in demand. Yes, we want to leave ourselves the room to be creative and buy fun things, but you have to remember that buying something or selecting to sell something to someone that they likely have never thought to themselves that they want or need is going to require a lot of work on your part. So as you're deciding what products to sell or considering getting new products for your business, a couple of questions you want to ask yourself: what makes my product unique? Like why should they buy this thing? Especially when there are other options out there, very similar options for them to choose from. You also want to ask yourself, what problems does this product solve for my customers? Now, we're not going to get into the word problem today, but I just want you to know that when we say the word problem in correlation to marketing, we're not necessarily saying that something is wrong, right? Like we think like, oh, she's buying this hair serum because her hair is falling out. She has a problem. Sometimes the problem is simply that they've lost weight and they want to get a new wardrobe. Or the problem could be that winter is ending and spring is about to start and they need spring clothing. That's the problem. So you really want to ask yourself, what problem am I getting ready to attempt to solve for my customer by way of selling them this product? And then here's a big one. Does it live up to the promise that I'm making in my marketing? So I find that a lot of businesses make very empty promises. They say, oh, we sell the best, insert product here, right? Whatever it is that you sell, insert it in there. We sell the best. What makes it the best? Prove it to me. Nobody can prove it. There are very few people in this world who have been able to prove that they have the best of something, right? So let's say you sell candles. I think I mentioned candles in the previous episode. Let's say you sell a candle. Of course, we buy a candle because it smells good, but maybe your customers are also looking for a sense of calm after a stressful day. Maybe it's a way for them to create a cozy environment or atmosphere in their home. Maybe they're the type of person who only likes candles during bath time, so on and so forth. That would be the real product that you're selling. So you're not just selling a candle, you're selling comfort. You're selling that sense of calm. You're selling that cozy atmosphere. You're selling that relaxing moment that they get to have in the bathtub, right? So it's so important that you understand that you're not just selling the physical product itself, but the emotion that's attached to it or the solution that's attached to it. So everything about that needs to come across in everything that you do, from your packaging to your product descriptions, your social media posts. Everything needs to tie back to that problem you're solving or that thing that has the emotion attached to it. It needs to be reflected. So I always talk about, we have the option of placing our product in front of a plain white backdrop and saying, okay, here's my content. That's a photo. Content is going to give context to the product that you're attempting to sell. So again, I could say, oh, we sell candles, and I, hold it in my hand and place it in front of a white backdrop. Sure, you can see that I sell candles, but what you can't see from that is that I'm selling you a sense of calm after a stressful day. What you can't see is that I'm selling you a candle that's going to become your favorite during your bath time every night. What you can't see is that I'm selling you a cozy atmosphere at home, because there's nothing about that candle being in front of a white backdrop that communicates that. So again, don't just select products and say, all right, girl, I know everybody's going to love this product. What you really want to ask yourself is, how am I going to sell that product, by way of answering the questions of like, here's the uniqueness, here's the solution it's going to give, or the problem it's going to solve, so on and so forth. All right. So the next P is going to be your price. And listen to me, friend. This is where so many people get stuck. They are looking at other people's pricing. They say to themselves, oh, so and so sells this too, I'm going to just sell it for the same price that she sells it. Well, pricing isn't just about covering costs or being cheaper or being the same price as your competition. Pricing is really about perceived value. When we talked about branding, we talked about perception. Your job is to make someone perceive something to be true about your business. And I often like to talk about this also from the perspective of people's prices being too high sometimes. Sometimes the price is too high in correlation to the perceived value, right? So let's dig a little bit deeper here. Think about it this way. Let's say your price let's say you price your product too low. People might assume that the product is low quality. That's their perception about the product, right? If you price that product too high without justifying the cost, meaning the experience doesn't give that this should be $98, it's more so given that it needs to be $38.99. You're going to scare people away. They're going to be like, I would never in a million years give that person $98 for that. But if you have presented it a different way, you could have justified the price because there would have been perceived value there. So your pricing sends a message every time, no matter if it's $19.99 or $99.99. Your pricing sends a message to that potential consumer on the other side of the room or the other side of the screen. It's going to tell your customers what to expect from your brand. It's going to help them to set an expectation from your brand. So you're likely wondering, like, how do I choose my price at the end of the day? So here's a few questions that you can start by asking yourself. Number one is, what does this product cost me to make? And what's the profit margin here? How does my price compare to similar products in the market? Most importantly, what is this product worth to my customer? That's also really important question to ask yourself. So again, if we go back to the example, the candle, I must really like candles or something because I keep using this as an example. If you go back to the candle example, maybe your candles are like hand poured. They're made with clean ingredients because these candles these days are made with some nasty things. Okay. Maybe it comes in really beautiful packaging. It's not, the typical little glass jar with the wooden top. I don't know. That's the value. You're justifying the price. So that might be why someone chooses to pay $40 for your candle instead of $10 for one that they could get at, what's that place? Bath and Body Works, right? But you have to communicate that value at every touch point. If you want me to pay $40 for the candle, I need to feel like the candle was worth $40 in the experience that you provide, right? All right, so let's move on to the next P, which is place. And no, I'm not talking about a physical store because if you're listening to this, you likely have an e-commerce store. You may have a brick and mortar, but we're talking about e-commerce, okay? So, for online businesses, place is a digital presence, right? It's your website, your social media channels, your email list. It could even be like Etsy or Amazon if you sell on other platforms, so on and so forth. The question you want to ask yourself here is, how easy is it for customers to find and buy from my business? Is my website user friendly? Can they find me through a quick Google search? Can people navigate my website easily on mobile devices? Am I offering convenient shipping options? Do I offer pickup? So on and so forth. But it's all about convenience and ultimately like where you can be found or where your business can be found. So here's a quick story. One time I visited a website that took so freaking long to load. And when it finally did, in fact, load, I couldn't find the product I was looking for, number one. And the checkout button or the add to cart button did not work on certain products. Some products it worked, some of them didn't. Now, needless to say, I didn't make a purchase because the shopping experience was a little bit wonky. It was a little shaky, right? As a result, that person lost a sale. So imagine if you're not taking the time to ensure that all the different places where people can shop with your brand are optimized for you to actually make a sale. Are you actually taking the time to check your links and test your checkout, so on and so forth, to make sure that you're presenting the best opportunity for people to pay you? So basically, you want to make sure that you're meeting your customers where they are and making it as simple and as quick as possible for them to buy from you, and that there are no hiccups in that process, right? I always think about like shipping and delivery and pickup and things like that, right? So I personally, I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I don't do pickups and delivery. It's just not a thing for me. I don't want that hassle, but I do it with the full understanding that I'm going to lose out on sales, and I am okay with that. However, if you are not okay with that, meaning that you need that money, you want that money desperately, you need to have delivery and pickup set up, or at least one of them, because if you actually need the money that you would lose from that, it doesn't make sense for you to not have them turned on. So that is an example of place. All right. The last P is going to be promotion. Let's talk about that. So this is the part that most people focus on because it's the most visible, right? You can see when something is being promoted. So this is going to be things like your social media posts, your email campaigns, your ads. It's all the ways you tell your audience about your product, all the ways that you make people aware that there is a product for sale. Now, here's the thing. Promotion without a solid foundation, is going to just be noise at the end of the day. If your product, your price, and your place are a-okay and set in stone, or if they're not, I'm sorry, there's no amount of promotion that is going to save your business, right? So people are out here promoting their business all day, every day. They send the emails, they run the ads, so on and so forth. They ain't scared to talk about their business, but the product assortment is not right. The pricing does not make sense. The place is a mess. You can keep promoting. You can promote all day, all night. You could promote like Fashion Nova. Y'all know Fashion Nova posts like 2 times an hour. You could promote all day and all night. You could spend all your money on ads, and it would not produce the sales that you want. So when you're thinking about promotion, you want to ask yourself things like, what's the main message that I want to communicate? Where is my audience spending their time, so that you can make sure that you spend time there? And also ask yourself, how can I create content that feels valuable and not just salesy? Because that is the truth of the matter for so many business owners. Yes, they're promoting, but they're promoting in such a salesy manner that they're ultimately not providing any value or giving people something to connect to, convince them that they want to go ahead and make that purchase. All right, so we're going to go back to the candle example just to keep this really, really consistent. All right. So instead of you just saying, buy my candle, you could create a video that shows how you set up that perfect cozy night in, or how you set up your perfect bath time, and you light that candle in the middle, and maybe you put a candle on one end of the tub and another candle on the other end of the tub, so on and so forth. It's all about connecting with your audience in a way that feels authentic and helpful and relatable and things of that nature. So I find when it comes to promotion, again, we're promoting, we're doing it, but it's not effective. It's not, hitting home for the people that we actually want to buy from us at the end of the day. So that's the marketing mix: product, price, place, and promotion. Each piece is going to work together to create a seamless experience for your customers at the end of the day. And I always tell my students that if one piece is off, the whole thing falls apart. It's just like a puzzle. If you are missing a piece, the puzzle can't puzzle. It don't work, friend. It's not gonna happen. Or think about like um something that needs 4 batteries. If you only have 3 batteries, that thing does not work. Okay. So when it's right, when you get it right, that's when your business is going to start to feel like it's running itself. I have had so many great moments in my business where, yes, it was moving a little too fast. It was a little uncomfortable, but also it felt like it was running itself. It was running sometimes a little too fast, but it was because I had clarity and consistency in my product assortment. My pricing made sense. I was in the right places at the right times, and my promotion was superb. All right. So, as always, let's go ahead and recap what we talked about in this episode. First things first is your products. Your product is not just what you're selling, it's the solution to your customer's problem. Your price, secondly, needs to reflect value, not just cost. Third is your place, whether that be your website, your social media channels, your email list. All of them need to make it easy for your customers to buy from you. And the fourth P, your promotion. This should connect with your audience in a way that feels real, feels valuable, relatable, so on and so forth. All right. So, as always, if you found this episode helpful, if it got you thinking about how you can fine tune or fix or implement a marketing mix, then I've done my job. And if you're ready to take it to the next level, you want help in building this out and making it as effective as it can possibly be, my program, E-commerce Profit Plan, is where I help you put all them pieces together. All right. So I'll put the link, as always, in the show notes. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys in the next episode. We're going to be talking about launch marketing versus continuous marketing. And that is a hot topic in my world. So I will chat with you guys in the next episode.